and it is my pleasure to start this year's first debate in this class. I'm going to introduce the Geek Squad to you. The members other than me are Anna Kovalenko, Kim Myers, Alan Tevin, and Lei Zhang. And our statement of opinion is that China's investments in green energy do not only promote exports, but also a cleaner environment. So before we get into the nature and the scale of investments, let's first talk about the rationale for a bit. The first important factor are environmental problems. Now, quick show of hands, who here is from China or has been to China in the last 10 years? Okay. Any of you guys have experienced any signs of bad air quality, such as smog in the cities, maybe even acid rain?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Because the worst environmental problem in China is air pollution. And as a matter of fact, according to Time magazine, 16 out of the top 20 most polluted cities in the world are in China. Well, that might sound shocking, but what's even more shocking is that every year in China, 650,000 people die from respiratory diseases that are mostly attributed to indoor and outdoor air quality. The second important factor is a growing energy demand. China is the biggest country in the world by population, and they're transforming their economy. In order to transform their economy and increase their standard of living, their energy demand is going to increase. Now, when a country increases their energy demand, you always have to look at the infrastructure of the energy grid. That is not only how do you transport energy from one place to the other, but also are your current facilities sufficient in order to supply future needs of energy demand. Now in China, this is not the case. Current facilities will not be able to match future demands of energy. Therefore, if you combine the need for environmental improvements, the growing energy demand, and the lack of infrastructure, it seems like a win-win situation if you invest into green technology, green energy technology. And it actually might seem like a win-win-win situation if you also consider that whenever you invest money, there's an economic motive and you're going to gain some. Now, our friends Mr. Ricardo and Mr. Smith tell us that if you build up a comparative advantage, you're gonna have a better competitive position in international markets and going to be able to export more. So we have four motives that provide the rationale for green energy investments. And now Alan is going to tell you a little more about the scale and the nature of these investments.
Thank you, Carlo. Well, first, I'd like to start speaking about the huge amount of investments that China is doing into the green environment and to renewable energies. They invested $34 billion US dollars, yes, you heard right, $34 billion US dollars in 2009, just on renewable energies. And here's a chart that you can see about the United States, for example, which is the second one that invested into the renewable energies. They only have 18 billion. As you can see, this from this side, it's twice the amount of investments that they're doing in China. And on top of that, they're the world's largest importer and exporter of energy equipment. Here you are seeing a chart that says the wind turbines in the world, in the whole world, and I'm not surprised seeing China's top number one with 52,800 megawatts of power. And you can see there's obviously the number one capacity. And from all the wind turbines in the world, China has 30% of the market in the wind turbines. And it has the 50% of the new turbines that they were built in 2009. China has it. And on top of that, I'm going to give you another fact, which is 5 out of 10 solar panels that they manufacturing in China are from China, you know. And this is a great or very interesting point. And they also have a complex that it's from Solar Valley, which is a hotel, a conference center and a university, which is a complex that generates power only and mainly by solar panels. This is just a unique complex that they have there in China. Now that we've been speaking about investments, I'm going to give you the word to Charles, who's going to explain how these investments are improving into the environment.
Thank you, Adam. After these years of investment in green energy, China is still on its way to a better environment. And the shares of clean energy in the total energy consumption and production is a very good sign to show the progress. And as we can see here, the blue bars shows the ratio of clean energy in the total energy consumption and production. And we can see a really obvious trend of increase in this ratio, which means more people are likely to use or produce clean energy instead of the traditional one, right? And what's more, in 2007, 70% of China's total electricity came from renewable resources. It's really a huge amount. And is that enough? No. China says no. Actually, China right now is considering introduce a pollution tax on the production industries, especially the large companies who produce so much pollution. And China also plans to invest over $300 billion in its next 5-year plan to the green energy industry. This huge amount of investment will absolutely help to increase the ratio of clean energy of the total energy consumption from very low level currently to more than 20%. And also, the energy consumption per GDP will decrease by almost 70% absolutely. And the total consumption from energy in the next half century will rise to almost to 40%. And we can easily see from this slide that China has great progress in its environmental problems. And next, let's Anna tell about what the role that China has played in the environmental problem.
Right. So for a second here, let's step away from the territory of China and move to a larger territory, which is our world, which is our planet. What role do Chinese investments in renewable energy play there? As you see, last year a new scenario of energy policy was developed, and it's a 450 scenario which foresees that by 2035 the average annual rise in temperature, the Earth's temperature, has to be limited to only 2 degrees Celsius. This is very ambitious, and all of the countries have to unite to reach that goal. And guess what? Since China is the biggest player on the market right now, their role in that is also the biggest, and they have to limit their carbon dioxide emissions by 33% by 2035. Right now, their low carbon dioxide production is only 19% of their total energy production. However, it has to go up to 78% by 2035. This means that all of the investments into the renewable energy have to be done quickly, efficiently, to receive this global result. And now, I would like to pass the word over to Kim, who will sum up our position.
China is the leading producer of CO2 emissions. As a result, it has seen a negative impact on the health of its citizens, the quality of its air, and the reliability on its water supply. Furthermore, the international community has placed significant pressure on China to reduce its dependence on fossil fuels. As a result, China has invested in an ambitious green energy policy and a massive amount of money in renewable energy development. While this policy is only 2 years old, we have not seen significant influence on the reduction of CO2 emissions. However, the future is promising. Within a few decades, China's energy consumption ratio will significantly increase as the percent of renewable energy increases. We believe that China's investment in green technology will have a positive impact on the health of its citizens, a reduction in air and water pollution in its country. Furthermore, through economies of scale, China will remain the leader in green energy exports, which will play a major role in providing access to these technologies globally, and which will reduce CO2 emissions internationally.